How do you know you should charge more for what you say, for what you do? Charge more for your services. Now, people usually think that to know if you should charge more, you need to first of all consider if you are confident enough to charge more. That you have more testimonials. There are many people, demanding for your product or service. You are becoming very sophisticated. Now, I do not disagree with that, right? You should actually get to that point when there's an overwhelm of work. Then you can say, okay, I want to reduce the amount of people working with me, so let me raise my prices, right? Like, let me raise my prices so I'll filter some kind of people and all those things. Now, that is actually not bad. But what if you are just starting out, or what if you are just having a few clients, you're 6 figures per month, and you want to move to 7 figures, you want to charge more, but you just don't know how to, or how to justify it. You are scared. Okay, what if I lose clients? Like, what if nobody hires me and I don't make any money? I'm starting out and I want to charge for. I feel like I paid a lot to actually learn this thing. I spent so much time, so much money, so much energy, and I want to really charge. And also, I have bills to pay. I have a standard of living I want to live. Like, I really want to live a kind of life that is that I think I'm deserving of. Now, I'll probably make a video about that later on, about how to fix your prices or how to fix your business based on the lifestyle you want to live. But let's talk about how you actually charge more. Now, you must know that for your market to pay you more, that's what you are focusing on. Will my market pay me more money? Will they? That's what you want to know. So now let's find out. So for your market to pay you more, there are actually 4 components that surrounds an offer that determines if people pay more for it or not. Now let's just draw more like a rectangle. So now I want you to do this. So as you're watching this, on this side of your product, okay, I'm going to draw in the camera. All right. Okay. So now on the left, right, you put pain. On the right, you put pleasure. At the top, you put information, and at the bottom, you put labor. Now, this is a fundamental thing. The reason why people pay for anything is because it is either moving them away from a pain, or it is moving them towards a pleasure. Now, if a product is actually moving people away from a strong pain, they will pay more for it. Right? For example, would you be pricing your surgeon when you have a kidney issue and you have basically 3 weeks to die if you do not perform surgery? Right? Would you be saying the price is too much? You will pay anything it says. You will see all those posts people make and help so and so person, right? Because the person has so and so, they are not. Nobody is going to say, the price is too much. Let's go and negotiate so that we can reduce the price. Nobody says that because it's life, right? People pay anything for life. People pay anything to be alive. People pay anything for certain problems that are as important to them as life, such as a failing marriage that is about to divorce, and then they want to save the marriage. They will pay anything just to save the marriage. Or it could be a child going wayward and they want to get that child back. So there are things that are important to people, big pain, big money. Now, pleasure, there are some pleasures some people have that they love the treat. Now let's take about the surgeon. Now a surgeon treats somebody who has a kidney issue, could die in 3 weeks, and then the person is restored and could live 3 more years. That's a pleasure. So people are paying because of not just the pain they are walking away from, but the pleasure they are going towards. So they are paying for either the pain they are walking away from or the pleasure they are going towards. So that's exactly what you want to focus on. That's what people pay for on a high level, right? But now we are going to draw this diagram, and I want you to think about your service in the light of this, and we'll also give examples. So now, assuming a product, now how do you know if you should charge higher? Now, first of all, you have to ask yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's what you're using, 1 to 10, right? How much is the pain that this solves? So let's use a product example. Let's use the surgeon's example, right? It's a very easy one. So now the problem of about to die in 3 weeks I mean, that problem is a freaking 10, right? It could be an 8, 9, or 10, any of the three, but it's very high, right? The pleasure of life after 3 weeks, all the family and friends that get to see that person, get to like relate to that person, and all those amazing things, right? That pleasure is what? That pleasure is definitely around the, let's say, 8 or 9, right? So the pleasure and the pain is high already. That justifies you to charge high. Now, what about the labor? The labor it takes to actually get that done, right? Let's draw diagrams. So what about the labor it takes to actually for the surgeon to get his work done? Think of all the work he has done over the past years, studying for 7 years, extras, and all those studies and everything he did, practice and everything, right? All those time, right? The labor is freaking high. So labor, right, is about maybe also let's call it a 8, right? What of the information it requires to solve the problem? Meaning, can you go on Google and type how to save someone from a kidney problem like a surgeon and find the answer and be able to perform it by yourself? The information is very, very high to access. So information is what? It's like an 8. So now all these 4, high, 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 automatically is what? You can charge very high for it. But now let's take something very simple. Something like let's look for a product. Let's say let's just say selling a shoe, for example, selling a shoe. So now, what is the pain associated with not having a shoe? Well, you know, it's a 50-50. Like you could use a slippers instead, or you could use a flip-flop, right? Or or you could walking barefooted is not really good. So like if I'm without shoes right now, I will not really feel happy. So I really want a shoe, right? So let's say the pain is a 6. The 6 is fair, right? So let's say for shoe, pain is 6, right? So what is the pain for the pleasure for having a shoe? Yeah, well, I have a shoe, right? I could, I could walk around, right? I can, I don't know. It's basically, you can just give it something around the, like there's pleasure, there's not so much pleasure in that. So let's just say 4, right? So let's say what about the information? Like how easy is it to access making a shoe? Well, it's not really so easy. Yeah, that to an extent. Assuming let's say the shoe we are selling is a handmade shoe. So the information is maybe like the information it takes to make something like that is going to be like a 7, let's say 7, right? I don't know if I should call it a 6 or a 7. Yeah, 7 because convenience to get this done. What about the labor it takes? So let's say the labor it takes to make the shoe is quite on the high side. Now, one thing you must know, I'll come to that. Let's not go there yet. So the information is a 7, right? Or let's say you can actually find that information quite easy. So let's give it like let's give it a 5. A 5. Why the labor? Let's give the labor a 7. So now, looking at the averages of all this, right? You see that over 40, which is going to be right 7, 5, 12 plus 10, 22. It's kind of like average. So like charging high for it is possible, but not really high compared to a surgeon. Okay, these two are quite distant. So let me go the very basic. Sweeping your house or cleaning the house. So let's say cleaning the house. Let me clean this. So let's say cleaning the house, right? Cleaning your home. So cleaning your home now. Now you want to clean your home. So what's the pain associated with cleaning your home? Of your home not being clean? 6 or 5, something like that. Let's say 5. 5 is fair. Pleasure. Also 5. What was the information? The information it takes to clean your home. Literally, 2 or 1, right, or almost 0. What's the labor it takes? Maybe like it's going to be like a 7 or 8, 7 or 8, right? So this is the reason why you pay a cleaner low, because the information it takes is almost nothing, right? The pain, the labor, not so high. The pain and the pleasure not really there. So you can say, okay, fine. I'm angry. The home is not clean, but we can get it done later on. There's no changing or life changing scenario in that kind of case. Now, this is very important. Let me just say this. Now, if you have a pain and pleasure that is high, and the information is low, but the labor is high, you can charge high. Meaning that if pain, pleasure, labor is high, but the information is low, you can actually charge high. And if pain, pleasure, and information is high, and labor is low, you can actually charge high. Meaning information and labor could be inversely proportional. Something could require high information, low labor, such as running a Facebook ad, or just being on the system and clicking some buttons, right, and then instantly something starts happening. The information there is high, but the labor is low, right? But of course, the pain and the pleasure could be high, because that could be determining if the person gets more customers or it doesn't get more customers. So very important. Okay, so now after you found out where you are, so in the matrix, information must be high, or labor low, or labor high, information low, or labor and information high. Pain and pleasure should be high before you charge high. Now, if pain and pleasure, information and labor are not high, you cannot charge high, no matter what you do. Now, again, let me just give you a little tweak to it, right? If you, for example, clean houses, but then, of course, information, labor, pain, pleasure, most likely are low, maybe labor is a bit high. Now, for cleaning houses, you can not charge high, right? But what if you actually serve people who are freaks at their house being cleaned, like freaks? Now that's a market out of the niche of cleaning houses. So you serve people who are freaks. So the information it takes to get to that level of detail in cleaning is going to be high. The labor it takes, right? The labor it takes to getting that kind of detail, well, maybe not too high, depending on you and your skill. You don't know like what you do. The labor it takes might not be too high, right? But the labor itself may also be high. But the pain of them not having their house clean to the top notch may be very high for them, right? And then the pleasure might also be high for them, because they know how it makes them feel when their houses are cleaned well. So now, when it comes to scenarios like that, you can charge high, right? At that point, you could be charging, just to clean someone's house, and you're charging 200,000, 300,000. Now, those people who are clean freaks definitely have the kind of money to pay that amount, because they have, their habits is cultivated because of the environment they've been in. So you can charge high for that. So when you want to charge high, you want to focus on if your market has low pain, low pleasure, and maybe labor and information low. You just have to leave if you want to make money, unless if you just want to have a hobby, just get you busy. You don't really want to do anything special. You just want to earn peanuts and manage through life, right? But if you are planning to get rich, you are planning to move from 6 figures to 7 figures, or from 5 figures to 6 figures to 7 figures to 8 figures or 9 figures, you have to go higher. So you will need to change your market to a market that has a higher pay. Now, I'm not saying go sell something else entirely. It could be inside your market. You need to find a certain set of people who have a particular problem where the pain is high and the pleasure is high, and whether the information and labor is high, and then you have to now access yourself in terms of delivering, and that's what we're going to now. So now, when it comes to delivering, you want to first ask yourself, can your market go to Google and find a viable solution? Now, the hint is, the answer should be no. If your market can go to Google and find a viable solution, most likely you are in the wrong market, right? Again, pain, pleasure, information is all under this question, right? They should not be able to go to Google and easily, now I said easily, of course you can go to Google and find anything, but easily find. So if you run, for example, let's say you're an agency and you run Facebook ads, they can simply go type and say, I run Facebook ads for businesses. It's not specific at all. It's not solving any particular unique problem. So I run Facebook ads for businesses. All right, fine. You know, how to run Facebook ads. Go to Google. There are a ton of results. So the pain is low, very difficult to sell. Definitely very difficult to sell, right? But now let's go to the next. How expensive is it? If they hire someone and the person gets it wrong. Now, hint, it should be very expensive. If they hire someone and the person gets it wrong. Now, if they hire someone and the person gets it wrong, for example, if I hire someone to clean my house and the person gets it wrong, well, it's not really expensive. I could just redo it, get someone else to fix it, or do your laundry. Very very low, right? It's not so much, but it has. Imagine a surgeon is hired and he gets it wrong. That's dead. Very, very expensive, right? So you want to go to, or think about it. Let's even use the Facebook as an example. So let's assume you run Facebook ads for people who run on 10 million naira a month budget, right? And then they don't access it. You just give them feedback at the end of the month, right? And then they give you 10 million naira. So you run, and then there is specific niche, right? They are a large corporation that any misrepresentation of their brand will probably send the authorities against them, right? And then you make that mistake of misrepresenting their brand, or someone they hire misrepresent their brand, and then they lose lots of money in lawsuits, right? That's very expensive. So you want to, that's why I say niche, find the market, inside your market, that's problem that is common to a certain set of people, and solve it. It should be very expensive. How quickly can you solve the problem for them? Now the hint is it should be very quickly. The faster, it's not something you're going to take forever or months before you solve it, right? Whatever it is you are solving, if you can do it faster, the better, right? It means you are really good at it, right? You should be able to solve it faster. So fine, I'm not saying faster. Faster is relative to what you do, but you should know what is faster and what is slow, because if a surgeon does not treat the patient as fast enough, the patient will die. So there's a timeline. So the faster the better, right? If you are faster than everybody else, you definitely get the job. Of course, you still have to be somewhere that most people will not easily access because of expertise. Then how certain are you that you'll be able to deliver a great solution that works? Now the hint is you should be 100% certain. If you are not certain, if you are 30%, 50%, 70% certain, you will not be able to close the sale easily, because your lack of confidence will show so much on the deal. It will show so much. So you want to be certain that you can deliver 100% certain. Why? Because you understand, again, you are in a market whereby you actually are solving a niche problem, a problem that is unique to a certain kind of people who are willing to pay high for it, because it has high pain, high pleasure. So you know how to go about this particular problem, because you've either done it before. Now, so before you go to your market, find out the areas you've actually had successes back to back, so you can model it. Or even if you are just starting, it doesn't really matter. Every surgeon has his first surgery, right? But you've trained in that aspect, gotten the skill, and then you want to charge. Then you should now be able to, be 100% certain. So now, if you put all this together, you can come up with the particular market you need to serve to charge high, or you can find out if you should charge high or not, based on pain, pleasure, information, and labor. Right now, you could be doing something amazingly painful, amazingly pleasurable, requires lots of information, requires lots of labor, and you are charging low. Right? This is a wake-up call for you to start charging higher, 10 times higher, 5 times higher, right? 20 times higher, because of what you solve. Because nobody can solve it. So then you will now know if you are not valuing yourself enough. That's the reason why you're not charging higher. So this is important, right? So I hope this helps you to figure out how to charge more for your services, and I'll see you in another video.